The world outside is frozen at -35 degrees. A profound pre-dawn darkness blankets the landscape. And for the morning meal, the day demands a hunt for a 3-ton beast, a behemoth armed with tusks 2 meters long. This is not a scene of extraordinary peril. 30,000 years ago, this was simply a day. Inside the cavern, embers glow, casting a faint, warm light against the stone. A man stirs. Let us call him the Hunter. At 25 years of age, he is a man in his prime, a veteran of this unforgiving world. He stands tall, well over 1.8 meters, his frame dense with muscle forged in a lifetime of struggle. A high forehead and a prominent chin frame a face that holds a startling secret. Strip away the grime of the hunt, clothe him in the fabrics of our time, and he would be indistinguishable from any man in a modern metropolis. But beneath the skin, a vast gulf separates him from us. His bones, studied by scientists millennia later, tell a story of incredible resilience. They are a roadmap of fractures and traumas, injuries that healed over, testament to countless violent encounters with the megafauna of the Ice Age. This was a people who met predators face to face, and more often than not, they prevailed. He rises and surveys his home. This is no squalid shelter. It is the heart of a community of 40 men, women and children. Animal hides insulate the walls, tools of flint and bone lie in ordered arrangements, and the air is thick with the smells of wood smoke, roasting meat, and the raw, unwashed scent of humanity. It is the scent of family, the aroma of survival. Here, an ancient and powerful strategy is already at play: the division of labor. As the men prepare their spears, the women engage in tasks of equal importance. They gather edible roots and berries, tend the fires, and practice a revolutionary craft. They are sewing. This single skill, so easily overlooked, may be one of the most critical advantages they possessed. For herein lies a key to one of prehistory's greatest mysteries. Why did Cro-Magnon survive, while their Neanderthal cousins vanished? A compelling answer is found in the quality of their clothing. Archaeologists unearth the delicate bones of Arctic foxes, rabbits, and mink at Cro-Magnon sites, animals prized not for their meat, but for their dense, insulating fur. From these pelts, using bone needles, they tailored close-fitting garments. Leggings, parkas, and mittens engineered to trap body heat with astonishing efficiency. The Neanderthals, by contrast, simply draped themselves in heavy hides. The consequence was devastating. In a hunting ambush, the cold would penetrate their defenses faster. Their children were more susceptible to illness. Their effective day, the precious hours they could spend active in the glacial temperatures, was cut tragically short. It was a victory not of brute force, but of intellect and ingenuity. A testament to the idea that the greatest tool for survival is not the spear, but the mind that conceives of a better way, a single threaded stitch holding together the future of a species. The sun hangs at its zenith, a pale and distant disk in a sky of polished ice. In this epoch, survival is not a given. It is a thread woven from hide and sinew, a victory declared with each dawn. For our ancestors, it was the mastery of clothing that drew the line between existence and extinction. As the morning light cuts across the frozen steppe, a hunter dons his fur tunic. It is a masterpiece of necessity, a mosaic of survival. 10 small pieces of fur, painstakingly stitched together with a needle carved from bone. The thread is not spun from wool, but drawn from the dried tendons of a reindeer. Trousers and leggings of supple leather guard against the biting wind, and heavy fur boots, insulated with handfuls of dried grass, make the frozen ground bearable. This entire second skin was not bought or bartered. It was created by the patient hands of his wife and sisters, a testament to bonds forged in the long, dark winter nights. But today, the focus is not on warmth, but on the hunt. The clan will pursue the titan of this frozen world, the woolly mammoth. This is no mere pursuit. It is a meticulously planned military operation, engaging 20 of the clan's finest hunters. They carry a secret weapon, a revolutionary innovation that gives them a decisive edge their Neanderthal cousins never possessed. the atlatl, the spear thrower. It is a simple tool, a length of wood with a hook at one end. But its effect is profound. It acts as an extension of the human arm, tripling the range and velocity of a thrown spear. Imagine the difference. To face a 3-ton beast, not from 3 desperate paces, but from 30. A zone of relative safety, a space where strategy can overcome brute force. The group emerges from the mouth of the cave. Before them unfolds a landscape that no longer exists on our modern Earth. A vast cold steppe, a sea of hardy grasses and low shrubs stretches to a horizon of ice. In the distance, a sprawling herd of naughty woolly rhinoceros is etched against the sky. High above, immense vultures circle on thermal currents, patient observers in this timeless drama of life and death. The temperature is -20 degrees Celsius, a cold that would kill a modern human in hours. Yet the hunters do not shiver. Their clothing, a gift from past hunts, holds the cold at bay. Each hunter knows his role. The best trackers move ahead, their eyes scanning the ground. They are reading a story written in the snow, a narrative of tracks and traces invisible to the untrained. Then they find it. The deep, round impressions of a mammoth. The signs tell a precise tale. A lone bull past his prime, perhaps 40 years of age. He is the perfect target. Older males are often slower, having separated from the protection of the main herd. They are more predictable, easier to drive, easier to trap. And here, the true genius of these Cro-Magnon hunters is revealed. They did not simply run at animals with spears. They waged a war of psychology, using their intimate knowledge of the terrain and the animal's mind, bound by unwavering teamwork. The group divides. One party, armed with flaming torches and making a cacophony of shouts, begins to drive the mammoth from behind, pushing it in a very specific direction. The animal, startled and panicked, thunders away from the noise and the fire, directly into the jaws of a carefully chosen trap. A sheer cliff edge where the second group of hunters waits in silent ambush. The beast is immense, a fortress of muscle and fur, fighting with the desperation of a cornered god. It bellows, a sound that shakes the very air, but 20 spears, launched with the amplified force of the atlatl, strike almost as one. They fly with lethal accuracy from a safe distance, a storm of sharpened flint that pierces the thick hide. The great mammoth stumbles, falls, and is still. The hunt is over. It is a victory born not of cruelty, but of the unyielding imperative to live. Now the true labor begins. The entire community, women, children, and elders, descends from the cave to the site of the kill. The men set to work butchering the colossal carcass, wielding blades of flint and obsidian so sharp that modern surgeons still experiment with their design. The women gather the meat, packing it into leather sacks for the arduous journey home. The children help, carrying the lighter organs and pieces. Nothing is squandered. In this world, waste is the ultimate sin. The meat is sustenance for the weeks to come. The bones are the raw material of the future, tools, weapons, and needles. The great hide will become shelter, a new covering for a hut, or the raw material for more clothing. And the tusks, the magnificent ivory curves, are a treasure. From these, new spear throwers will be carved, but also something more. Statuettes, beads, the first flowering of human art. That evening, the clan gathers around the central hearth, the fire a beating heart against the immense cold and dark. The eldest hunter rises, and in the flickering light he begins to tell the story of the day. As smoke and stories rise into the frozen night, the hunt is transformed. It becomes legend, a lesson in strategy, a reaffirmation of the clan's strength. It is a ritual of memory, ensuring that the knowledge of survival is passed from one generation to the next. For in that firelight, in the telling of the tale, we see not just the dawn of humanity, but the very blueprint of our own complex world. A world built on the bones of giants, by the hands of survivors. In the fading light of a Pleistocene afternoon, communication is a theater of the body. A story unfolds not only from the larynx, but from the hands, the eyes, the subtle cant of a head. The Cro-Magnon language, a tapestry of sound already rich enough for complex ideas, is amplified by a universal grammar of gesture. Much is conveyed visually, a silent ballet of intent against the backdrop of a harsh, unforgiving world. Then, as twilight deepens and the clan gathers within the mountain's embrace, something else begins. It is a kind of magic, a literal conjuring. One of the hunters, his hand still bearing the memory of the day's struggle, retrieves a piece of charcoal and a lump of red ochre. He moves toward the undulating limestone wall of the cave. In the unsteady, dancing light of animal fat torches, he begins to draw. The hunt is relived. A great mammoth, its form summoned from the stone, is surrounded by the lithe figures of men. This is not mere decoration, it is not art for its own sake. It is a ritual of profound significance, an attempt to capture the spirit of the beast, to ensure the success of the next dawn, to impose the order of human will upon the chaos of existence. The cave paintings of our ancestors continue to confound, considered with a confidence and anatomical precision so flawless that contemporary masters can only gaze in admiration. They were not primitive scrawls. They were the work of focused, observant minds and supremely skilled hands. As the night outside grows absolute, the life within the cave contracts around the hearth. From a pouch, someone produces a curious object, a bracelet fashioned from the dense bone of a mammoth. When shaken, it issues a dry, rhythmic clatter, the first faint pulse of percussive music, a beat to measure the passage of a human lifetime. In a quiet corner, a young woman nurses an infant swaddled in warm furs, a silent promise of continuity. And near the fire, a creature of the wild has made a revolutionary choice. It is the world's first dog, a domesticated wolf that has traded the pack for the clan, the hunt for the hearth, betraying its wild brethren for the twin temptations of flame and roasted meat. The hunter, his duty to the wall complete, lies down upon his bed of hides, the day's exhaustion settling deep into his bones. Tomorrow will bring a new sun, and with it, new imperatives. Perhaps he will check the snares he set for hares along the frozen riverbank. Or perhaps he will spend the day napping a new spear point from flint, hafting it to a shaft of fire-hardened wood. Or maybe he will embark on a longer journey, to a neighboring community, to negotiate an exchange. For these were not isolated bands of survivors. The Cro-Magnon people traded. They built vast social and commercial networks that stretched across hundreds of kilometers. Archaeologists unearth materials and finish tools in regions far from their geological origins, a testament to a world far more connected than we once imagined. Herein lies the fundamental distinction that sealed the fate of their evolutionary cousins. The Neanderthals were powerful individualists, masters of their immediate domain. The Cro-Magnons, however, were a team. A single Neanderthal in a contest of brute physical strength might well have overcome a single Cro-Magnon. But a group of 20 Neanderthals was a collection of individuals. A group of 20 Cro-Magnons was a single thinking organism, a symphony of coordinated intent that would invariably triumph. They were the architects of the first true settlements. They conceived of the bow and arrow, a lethal innovation that killed at a distance. They invented the spear thrower, the atlatl, which turned a human arm into a devastatingly powerful lever. They learned to fire clay into permanent ceramic vessels, to create art, to compose music, to formulate religions that gave meaning to the sun, the moon, and the mystery of death. These people did not simply survive, they created. The Cro-Magnon day ends as it began, within the warmth of the community, in the security of the cave, under the watchful protection of the fire. Every day they lived was a deliberate step into the future. Every invention, every figure on the wall, every story told around the flames, every child born and successfully raised against the odds, it was all a current flowing toward the present, toward us. They endured the Ice Age not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they understood the immense power of cooperation. They survived because they learned to create, to think ahead, to care for one another. We are their direct descendants. And so every time we work as a team to solve a problem, every time we create something new from the raw material of our imagination, every time we share a story or an idea, we are not doing something novel. We are continuing a sacred and ancient task begun more than 30,000 years ago by a circle of remarkable people gathered around a fire in the heart of a cave. To gaze back across 30,000 years is to witness humanity forged in the crucible of the Ice Age. Here, our ancestors, the Cro-Magnon, moved through a world unburdened by the abstractions of taxes or morning commutes, yet intimately acquainted with the stark realities of hunger and cold. It provokes a profound question. Could the modern soul, sheltered by central heating and nourished by effortless delivery, withstand the brutal elegance of their existence? Have we traded primal resilience for the fragile comforts of civilization? In the end, it was their ability to gather, to share complex ideas around a flickering fire that allowed them to conquer a frozen world. That same impulse to connect and to question is the ultimate inheritance they left us.